the
That
miscommunication with
that
the
was that
UK.
was on me. That was on me. That was on me. I take responsibility for that one.
Maybe I was just being greedy, thinking I was going to have two people at once. It
Next time, next
happens.
time, next time.
I am greedy. I thought he was going to throw in your coach. Do you know what I mean? But yeah,
I'm gonna tell you now. I'm gonna tell you now. You're not ready for him.
really.
He's a character. I swear.
What makes you think that I
Uh,
wouldn't be ready for him?
unpredictable. I don't even know what he's gonna say. Maybe I'm not saying that you're not ready for him. I don't think the world is ready for him.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's hilarious. I have no idea what he's gonna say. He's unpredictable.
I like that. You need to bring him on here. That's even more of a reason to bring him on here. But yeah, welcome. It's been a minute. Darius Fulgham, light heavyweight, USA, ex team USA, made your debut and got that knockout so quick. Talk to me.
Well, it's funny you say it was quick, but throughout the whole fight, I was really being patient, really taking my time. That was the one thing that was on my mind going into the fight was first time, new experience, debut in the pros. Just fill it out. No need to rush it. Take it slow. So that was really, really patient work on my end. I just made sure that I was good on my feet, controlling my range, establishing my jab. Uh, that was the main thing that was on my mind, and I did that really well. And executed exactly what I came out to do, and worked out exactly perfect because I ended up finishing right at the end of the first round, which uh, which is perfect. Couldn't ask for anything better than that.
For a debut, yeah. I mean, we can talk about the lead up to it because I was getting ready to pack my bags to come down to Southampton because I thought you was going to be in the UK. Your debut, I thought, oh my gosh, Darius is making his light heavyweight debut in the UK. This is like an early Christmas present. I was thinking, yeah. Then it just didn't happen. I mean, what happened at the last minute?
Yeah, I kind of wish I could have made my debut there as well, but the main thing that was important to me was that I had a fight, and the one in the UK was a little up in the air. Uh, there was a couple things that needed to be done for me to make my debut in the UK.
Right.
Um, and we weren't sure if it was going to happen at the time, so we went with an option that was more certainty. Uh, and so we decided to go there because we don't want to have any problems where I didn't get to be approved to have my debut in the UK. Um, but the real issue was just getting I think my license approved to fight there. For me being from the US, they have a lot more issues with making sure that I'm eligible to fight or whatever the case was. But now that I had my debut, there won't be a problem ever again of me if I get a fight scheduled in the UK of that falling through. So then
Right.
my management promotion team did a good job of making sure I had something for certain by the end of the year. Uh, that was our main goal. We just wanted to have at least get one fight before the year was out, and we made it happen. So I'm happy with that.
And that you did a week before the holidays, the 16th
I
of
know, right?
December. Talk about, yep, we're going to have that by the end of the year. And you definitely did. How was it though, waiting? Because obviously, we spoke earlier on in the year. I was talking about, okay, you've signed, but who's your promotional company? And everything was like a bit, undercover, a bit quiet. And then obviously you came out with Probellum. So what happened between the switch between like S Jam and Probellum? Because obviously we know Sam Jones was part of S Jam. He moved over to Probellum. So how did that happen with you saying, you know what, I'm going to go to Probellum and not stay with S Jam?
Well, no, well, so the thing, I'm still with SJM. So SJM is my management team, so they're the ones that kind of handle all that. But Probella is my promotional team.
Right. Okay.
That
Okay.
makes if that makes a little more sense. So
So
I'm
you're
still with
not signed to
still with SJM.
Probellum. Right.
I know I am
Okay.
signed. I know I am signed with Probellum.
But for
Signed with both.
promotion.
Yeah, for
Oh,
promotional purposes, and then SJM is my management team.
right. Okay. Okay.
So
So you're still with S Jam.
I still am, yes.
Right. Okay. So then the promotional side, why Probellum? I mean, we've got
Probellum.
various promotions that we can have globally globally, we could say in the US and in the UK. Why Probellum?
Yeah. That was it was a tough decision. One thing about Probellum is they are a newer company starting out, but they have a big vision that I kind of uh, or a big philosophy that I respect and that I like. What is good about them is they are plans of taking over globally and fighting all across the world, which I'm a huge fan of. You know, rather than just fighting stateside, I want to be able to be around fans from around the world. And it was a crazy experience fighting in Mexico um, because just I felt the change in the arena when I fought. When I walked into the ring, I was getting booed. Uh,
Wow.
I was fighting a local guy, and so I was
Hmm.
getting booed going into the ring. It was funny because I found out afterwards that I got booed. I thought they were cheering for me at first, but then the guy I was doing an interview with a guy, and he was like, "Yeah, and how'd you feel about the crowd booing you?" Just walking up, I was like, I didn't even know I was getting. I guess the energy sounded the
Wow.
same, but after the fight when I got out of the ring, the fans loved me. I took millions of pictures with a lot of fans, signed some gloves and stuff, and so it was great to just trying to feel like I could win over the fans with a great performance. So that's something I want to do around the world is just keep winning fans over everywhere that I go. And
What I
so
mean, what was that? Yeah.
Probellum could kind of offer that. Like I said, their approach is globally fighting everywhere. So hopefully I can reach every kind of corner of the earth.
Yeah, and what a place to have a debut, like you said, Mexico. You know, when you said you didn't realize that that they were booing, that they were actually cheering. How does that work? Or is it because the adrenaline's going through you that much? Annoy. It's just like white noise anyway.
You know what's weird is because back in 2020 when I was on Team USA, we had went to Bulgaria to fight, and for it was a stronger tournament, and I ended up fighting a Bulgarian in that tournament. And the exact same. Now that time I heard it. Like I heard them booing me. Like and I was like, man. Now that in turn, like the energy, my
Yeah.
competitiveness and all that like spiked up. And I was like really like amped and turned up for it. Like I like that. I like that feeling of being like I felt like I was like rooted against, or I was like,
Yeah.
you know, it brought a different energy out of me. But this time, I don't know what it was. Like I really didn't hear it. Maybe I was just really locked in and focused, and it all just sounded like just noise. But I don't know. I don't know what the difference was, but I definitely thought they were cheering for me.
Fair play. Well, whatever. It worked. You got that knockout. What was it like? Did you think that you were going to go? Is it a four rounder you're doing to start, or was it six?
It was six.
Okay. I mean, to just get to the end of round one. Okay, yeah, you a first fight knockout. It's good to have, but does part of you feel like a bit frustrated that you wanted to, I don't know, have a bit more fun in there? I don't know. How does a boxer think? Or you just like, yeah, I got a
Well,
knockout. I'm cool.
realistically, obviously, it'd be great to go more rounds, but eh, my mindset going in is I want to get it over with as soon as possible. Because I don't want to be in there longer, risk and taking more punishment and even stuff of getting a headbutt. Luckily, I didn't get hit at all that fight, but it's one of those things that you never know. Easy clash of heads could have happened, and I got a cut now. I could be out for a lot longer than I need to be when I want to just get
Okay.
back fighting. So the sport of boxing, like I said, for experience wise, this early in my career, I really would like to go longer as well, but no, I'd rather just get him out there as soon as possible. But in
You know
saying
what?
that, I'm not looking for, in saying that, I'm not looking for a knockout. Like even in this fight, my whole goal is to be patient and just kind of just enjoy the moment, enjoy the pro experience, enjoy being in the ring with the smaller gloves on. I've already fought without headgear, so that wasn't anything new to me. But the gloves were completely different than the amateurs. So I just want to kind of get used to the feel. Um, but a knockout came earlier than expected, so I'm fine with that. Whenever it comes, it'll come. Not necessarily looking for it, but when opportunity does come, I'm gonna make sure I get a guy out of there.
You know what? I like the way that you've said that because that's something that I've never really taken into consideration. You're thinking, because forgive me for my ignorance, I'm still learning the sport. you usually speak to boxers and they're like, yeah, I want to get some rounds in. I'd like to get that experience. When you've kind of like looked at it from a different perspective, a longevity perspective, where you're saying, at the end of the day, yeah, I do want to get him out there quickly because I don't want to end up with any unnecessary injuries that's going to hinder my career. It's like such a total different way of looking at it. And I like that because that's a different perspective that I've never seen before, or I've never had spoken to a boxer where he said, actually, no, I want to get them out of there quick.
I do. But again, like I said, the mentality going in, I'm not looking for it. If it comes, it comes. But realistically, I don't want to risk harming myself. Boxing is a dangerous sport, and I don't need to be taking any sort of punishment that I don't need to. So if opportunity comes, I'm, I'm gonna make sure I get the guy out of there. But I'm gonna do it smartly because I've watched too much of boxing and I've seen how boxing works. I have seen many of even my friends or other people, somebody gets hurt and they try to rush and get them out of there, then they outpunch themselves. Then the rest of the fight they're drained. They got nothing left. So it's all about just doing it smart. But really my mindset is just to win. So whatever I got to do to win, that's what I'm gonna do.
And when you talk about doing that smart, like you said, with your opponent, you could see that he was like, I think I've had enough. You smell the blood. You're the shark is
Yeah,
bleeding.
yeah.
You can smell that. How does that work then when you still have to go in with that head on to think, okay, he could be one of these fighters that's backed into a corner and he's dangerous? How do you then have that mindset to go in and finish him off like you did? But it's like still being cautious, still being like, okay, I still need to be on my guard, but I'm going to finish him, which is what you did quite nicely.
Yeah. The fight had gone on long enough where I got my timing and everything down perfectly. When I felt comfortable, I knew exactly what he could have thrown. I could see it in his body language. So at that point in the time, I knew what needed to be done. Now, but you're right though. Like a lot of people are still dangerous, and you still have to be aware of that, especially when they're back to the corner. Because who knows, they'll just come out swinging with some wild left hook or whatever, and out of nowhere you get caught with something. So you always still got to be aware of those. But at a certain point, there's a certain feeling that you get, and I wish I could explain it better. It's just something that I just know when I'm in the ring. There's a lot of stuff that we do that we don't even think about. It's so it becomes so unconscious to us. Whenever you see somebody in a certain position, or if they're in a certain shell or at a certain range, you just know what they're able to do. Like if they're down
Right.
here with his hands down, I know they're only limited to throwing this shot, and then so I'm fully aware without even thinking about it. Like I know potentially shots that they can throw, and that's what I mean having to think about it. So whenever it's time to go in for the kill, I'm still aware of that, but I'm always aware of what somebody can throw. I always got to be defensive minded as well.
And that goes back to kind of like what we spoke about months ago when we spoke about you being able to fight off instinct when you see a fighter present certain things. I remember you saying this, so it just goes to
Yeah,
show this is you, this is who you are. Because you said it doesn't matter how long you prepare for an opponent, they could go in there and box completely differently. Then what are you going to do? But you're there openly saying you're looking out for signs, so you know they're limited to throwing certain shots, and it's all about that IQ and reading the fighters.
everything's about reading a fighter. There's a whole story that goes on into a fight, and you tell it even as a fighter myself, like you're telling a certain story. Whenever you throw jab down to the body, every now and then,
Yeah,
oh, jab down to the body. Now they're expecting the jab down to the body. Oh, that's when you hit the feint, jab to the body, come up with a different shot. Because you've already told
yeah,
that story. When you present this look, you're throwing this shot. You're throwing this
yeah,
shot. Canelo does this very well. I've watched a lot of Canelo's fights. When he throws his left hook, boom, he'll throw this left hook down to the body. Boom, throw this
yes,
left hook down to the body. And he'll do the same exact movement to throw this left hook, but then he throws it up to the head. Boom,
yeah.
they try to catch it down here, but then they get clipped. He did that so much when he fought Caleb Plant. But it's all about like a story you tell in a fight, and you got to end up feeling it. It's hard to explain, but
No, I
the
think I
more the
get it.
more experience, everything is just repetition, repetition, repetition. And like I said, every fight has like a story that it tells, and as the fight goes on, you start to. That's why even for me, like I was never set for an amateur style of fighting.
I
I'm
remember you said.
definitely mowed a lot better for the pros, and that's why really excited about because the longer the fight goes, I'm better able to read opponents for the long game rather than for like three short rounds, you know. So it's all
Yeah, I
about
really
just
like
trying
that.
to have my IQ is trying to just keep training that my mental and making sure my IQ is sharp as ever.
But I like that tactic. The fact that sort of like you're doing the boy who cried wolf. That's the tactic, isn't it? It's like you're calling out, you're calling out with the feints, or you're throwing certain shots. So they're expecting you
Mm.
to do that because we're creatures of
That's
habit. So
that's
they think
yeah,
that
that's what
you're,
that's what I've been doing.
yeah, it's like they think they're learning you, but you're not.
Mm.
You're learning them. You're
So,
learning
yeah,
what their reactions are going to be. So you're able to,
and this
get the results that you want. I like that.
that's exactly really how it is, and it's really I'm more manipulating them to. It's
Yeah.
like it's like I'm forcing them to have this certain habit or forcing them to do a certain thing over and over and over again, just so when I do
Yeah.
it, just to mix it up, and boom, that's where the surprise is, and that's when fights kind of start to change. It's all about being unpredictable. That's the that's the most important thing I think fighters can be is where people can't establish your timing or even know what
Mm.
you're going to do. The hardest people to fight, I'm telling you, are the ones who are unpredictable, the ones who are awkward, you know, because we don't train for that. I watched one of my homeboys fought last night, and the guy that he fought was really awkward. You know what I mean? And but he handled it so well. His name was Troy Isley. He had fought an amazing fight, landed a
Yeah.
lot of clean uppercuts, left hooks. But the guy that he fought, really awkward fighter, man. But you don't train for that because they don't throw punches that are that are like what we learn in the gym. You know what I mean? They throw punches at awkward angles like a Manny Pacquiao. Like it's hard to train for stuff like that, you know, because it's very different than what we're used to seeing. But it's all important about just being able to adapt.
And it's having that mentality to adapt. And it's not like every fighter can do that because some fighters are quite rigid.
Yeah,
They
they're
have a
stuck.
style,
They're stuck in their ways for sure, and
but then they'll have a
they're
ceiling.
one trick ponies.
But then they'll have a ceiling. They'll only be able to get to a certain level, and when the real tests start coming in, that's when it
Mm,
shows the boxing ability, doesn't it?
it does because once you hit a brick wall, like what are you going to do? You're going to either try to jam through that brick wall with the same thing that you've been doing, or you can use another tool to do it. You know, and that's what I think is important about boxing is being well rounded in every aspect of fighting, whether it's counter punching, pressure fighting, or if you're going to be moving on your feet using your jab or whatever the case may be. I think it's important to stay well rounded. So whenever you need something, you can pull this out of your tool bag and be like, okay, well, look, I'm trained for this. Like I'm ready to do this if somebody presents something differently. So I think it's really important to be well rounded. That's something I try to make sure I practice on in the gym that I can fight multiple different styles and where I can adapt in the ring. Just in case this isn't working, it's a long fight. It's the pros. I can switch it up and try to do something
Yeah.
differently.
Like the weigh-in that you had. Another thing that I want to touch on as well is like the presence that you have, the energy that you bring, the confidence. I've watched a few weigh-ins over my time, and you can sort of like look at a fighter. I don't know, maybe it's me. You can see by the body language that they're already on the back foot. I didn't
Mm.
see your weigh-in. How was it, and how did you feel when you were stood opposite your opponent when you have that face off? You've made weight, and you're looking, I don't know, into his soul. What energy did you get from him, and how did you feel about that?
You know what's funny? You talk about energy. I seen you post something recently, and it's my homeboy David Naika. He had a crazy way in how he just looked. He looked so menacing,
Tell
you
me
know.
about it.
And he looked so menacing. I remember watching that. I was like, ooh.
Exactly.
Kind of, I looked into somebody that reminds you like even Mike Tyson back in the day, and how he would just penetrate somebody's soul
Yeah.
with his eyes, you know. And it, it, it kind of just that presence alone kind of makes people think. Um, you know, it's weird. That was my first real weigh-in, and I wasn't sure how I was gonna be when it came time for me to do it. Because I've done
Yeah.
like like face-offs with my friends, like joking or whatever. And I'm always just laughing. Like I was like, I can't imagine myself doing a face off because I'm gonna just be laughing. I can't just be in another
Manny
man's face
Pacquiao.
like this. Yeah,
Hmm.
I figured I was gonna be exactly like Manny Pacquiao, but surprisingly, I wasn't. Like I was really kind of locked in the moment. And even through the amateurs, whenever it's time to touch gloves, like, but for some reason, the pros, like, I just know my dreams are on the line every
Okay.
fight. So I was crazy locked in, and I was like looking dead in the soul, and that was the first time that actually surprised me. I ain't even gonna lie, like, I surprised myself because I definitely thought I was gonna be like a Manny Pacquiao, but um, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. I was extremely confident though when I was standing there, like,
Okay.
just looking at him, I was like,
Okay.
I'm gonna dominate this fight,
Okay.
and I was secure in my convictions, and so I was like oozing confidence at the face off. And I
Not
think
that I
I
don't
think
know
I
if
think I think and I think in those moments, I think as a fighter, we know like yeah, like this guy doesn't belong in the ring with me, and I gotta show it. I gotta make an example.
did he give off that energy like he was not saying scared because we go back to David Nikat. He was scared. His
Yeah,
opponent was scared. I could, like I said, I could see that fear. But with yours, like you said, you know what's on the line. This is your debut. You were confident. You said you knew you could take him. You knew you was going to win. What was he like? What was his like body language, his demeanor? What was he like?
he really, it's weird though. He didn't really. I didn't feel like a presence from him. Like
Wow.
I didn't. Like it was.
Wow.
It felt just like everything just felt blank. Um,
Wow.
which was weird to say. Like I didn't feel anything.
Interesting. So when it's like it's coming up to it and you're going into the ring, because like I said, you've been waiting for this moment for ages.
I
What
have.
is that? What is that feeling when your walkout music comes on and you are walking? I want to feel that. I want to understand what you feel when it's this is your debut. Your coach is with you. You're walking to the ring. How's that feel? What are the emotions that are going through you at that time?
I wanted to just soak everything in, and I remember when I was walking to the
Okay.
ring, the like I said, the crowd was packed in that arena. Fighting in La Paz, I didn't honestly expect like the energy to be what it was, but the energy was pretty electric in there. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Wow.
And I remember just kind of looking around, just kind of like smiling, like this is my time. Like I was just finally so amped up to get ready to put on a performance, and try to make my presence known in the pros. I wanted to make sure I made an example and let it be known, like for the light heavyweight division that I'm coming. So in my mind, kind of walking up, I was just absorbing everything. I
Taking
wanted
it
to
all
feel
in.
everything, yeah, everything that was going on in that moment. Take deep breaths and just kind of lock in. A lot of stuff that I do, a lot of stuff I do too is kind of weird. It's real, very light skinned of me to do, but
What the
uh,
hell? What do you mean
I
light skin? You
know, I
mean
know.
standing there posing and pouting like Prince?
But I'm just like I just wanted to be smiling like in my I don't know if I was on outside, but in my
Inside.
the inside I was just so happy and I just wanted to kept reminding myself to just have fun, take all the pressure off and just have fun and
Fun.
just enjoy everything. And
Mm,
that's when I feel like I perform my best when I take all that pressure off of me and I just go out there and just enjoy myself and I just have fun.
mm, mm.
So the whole
So
time
you,
I remember going to the fight after I remember he threw a left hook. Well,
mm-hmm.
I leaned back and it missed and I smiled. I was like
Wow.
I smiled and I was like, yeah, no, I'm ready for this. So it was a good experience and I had fun in there.
Well, there you go. And that is it. I'm just like super happy to just get your experiences, leading up to it and having that fight. So you've done it now. You're in the game. This is it. Is there a massive difference between the amateurs and the pros?
Massive difference. First thing that obviously comes to mind is the gloves. I'll say that for sure. Gloves are different. Um, amateurs, I fought in 12 ounces. These were 10s, but not only were just like the weight size differences, but the padding was a lot different as well.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't, like I said, I didn't get hit, so I didn't get to actually see what it felt like. But I remember when my punches landed, they felt like so devastating.
Okay.
I remember the first jab I landed. I was like, "Whew." Like I felt like I like looked down at my hand, like, whoo, you know. Um, so I felt that difference in just the impact alone from when I landed shots.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously, like I said, the difference really is kind of like the pressure that we put on ourselves from the amateurs to the pros. Like pros is like, you know how important being undefeated is. Like we can't
Okay.
afford, yeah, we can't afford to lose at all. So I feel like a lot of people in the pros put a lot of pressure on themselves, and that's what I said. I've been trying to make sure I do is try to take a lot of pressure off me, a lot of stress out of my life, and make sure that I'm just enjoying the life that I got, and that when I step into the ring, that I have fun and doing what I love. So it's kind of my mentality that I switched from being in the pros, and like I said, I feel a lot more confident. I feel a lot better, and I feel like a much better fighter than I did in the amateurs. Now that I'm back really with my coach and we're doing a lot of stuff trainer wise, my mind is way sharper um, than back when I was fighting the amateurs recently. Like
Okay.
I'm on a whole different level right now.
So you know when you talk about switching that energy, like to to get into that, like you said, it's sort of like a positive mindset you've got to get into. You mentioned about obviously keeping, the stress out of there. There's also like the pressure of you not wanting to lose. And this is something that
And
I'm
and
curious about.
and really also want to add to not only just about losing, it's about looking good too. Like
Okay.
that's the other pressure that's added to it because it's not just like, oh, he won. No, you got to win convincingly. Like you got to
Right.
put on a dominant performance. And you got to win
Right.
looking good too. That's the only other added pressure there is to it. It's not just about winning. Like you have to win good. The fans need to know, like, oh, this guy's the truth. Oh, this guy's going to be something.
Okay.
And eventually I want to put on those performances to like I said, keep winning fans day by day and just let them know, like, that I really believe, like, I'm destined for greatness. I told you that my name now, like, nickname I put out DFG. I had my
DFG.
family there, and that was so huge for me. I had my family there to watch me in my debut, and I hear my mom in the crowd screaming DFG,
Oh
DFG,
wow.
and I can hear it, and it just brings my energy to another level. So that's the kind of legacy I want to put out. That's for greatness, like trying to do some big things in this sport.
That's awesome having your family there for that support as well. So I guess that kind of like would switch your mindset into like a positive to get you into that right space where you need to be. So you're not, like you said,
Mm,
thinking about, okay, I need to win in an emphatic fashion. I've got so much to prove. I guess hearing those familiar voices in the crowd kind of like grounds you, homes you in,
it
and you're
does.
like, okay, let's do this. I know what I'm doing. Let's go.
It does. Like I said, it's all about just having fun and enjoying the experience. And like I said, sign ProBella and be able to take my family around the world. And like I said, get to do what I love doing. And I can't beat that. Like I gotta enjoy these moments while they're here. So
Yeah, absolutely. So when are you out again?
you said, when am I fighting again?
Yeah. I
I
need to
wish,
speak
honestly,
proper Queen's English. Sorry. When will you be fighting again? And what country will that be in? Do you understand me now? Am I speaking the Queen's English?
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. No disrespect. No disrespect. I apologize.
No, it's all right. I've got a Birmingham accent, Birmingham, UK. That's hard for everybody to understand anyway. So,
No,
yeah.
I understand you just fine. I just wanted to make sure. I wish honestly we could have had this call maybe by like because I should be able to announce very, very soon my next
Oh,
date and location, but I can't give you that right
I'm
now.
always so premature with these, aren't I?
I know, right? I
Okay.
know, right? So very, very soon I should be able to announce
Well, I'll
my
watch your
date and
page and
location.
watch what you're doing anyway, so I'll be on that. But what I want to do, what I want to ask you as well, the light heavyweight division, we saw Joel Smith Jr.
I watched the fight. Yeah.
Can I have your thoughts on that?
You know, it's funny when I was watching the fight, right?
Mm,
The guy that came in did a lot better than I thought. I actually really didn't know anything about him. It was my first
neither
time
did
seeing
I.
him fight, and I was really impressed that Joe Smith actually got the stoppage. I didn't think he was going to get the stoppage
Mm,
against that guy. The guy that he was fighting is very defensively sound. He had a high guard, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
his high guard defense is actually pretty impressive. He was catching a lot of the shots and absorbing them pretty well. So
yeah,
I actually didn't. I actually for me, I didn't really see the knockout coming. But Joe Smith Jr. is very strong, very
hmm,
resilient, and keeps coming. He comes straight off that jab. A lot. I will
yeah,
say though, like he fights pretty similar in all his fights. You know, when he comes out, jab,
yes,
jab, jab. He comes out, jab, 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 and he's there coming, boom, 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 and he's always there. A
yeah,
tough fighter to fight against. You know what I mean? So good win for him. Uh, like I said, and good job by his opponent. Came in on like a 2 week notice.
yeah, eight
Uh,
days,
yeah, to when to stop the ninth was the ninth, 10th round or something. It
yeah,
was
ninth
it's a
round.
late it was a late stoppage, but he did well up until that point. So huge shout out to him as well. But
Hmm. You know, when this, yeah, he's got 8 days notice, and that is a short amount of time to get ready. You know, this guy, he's ranked
for
number
for
one.
a
Is he
for
ranked
a
number one?
heavyweight, I mean for a world championship fight too at that.
Yeah. So, but I don't know, and this is where you will correct me and say, look, you're just a casual fan, you don't get it. But he came in with a very high guard, which is fine because people have a high guard. But looking back at the fight and seeing if he could actually see, or he was just tucking up and protecting himself against getting hit and then throwing the occasional shot back,
Hmm.
did it look well? It looked to me as if he was just going through the motions. There was no real determination to up the gears, to push the fight up. And it seems as if Joe, had him basically where he wanted him. Don't get me wrong. Yes, he threw back a few counters, but I was listening to his corner and they were saying, you're not fainting, faint. You're just standing there. You're not hitting first. Start fainting, start moving. We don't want you on the ropes. Blah, blah, blah. You'd hear the corner say that. And then he'd go out and he'd be in this high guard. And he was getting, obviously, getting hit, getting a lot of punishment because he was getting
Hmm.
hit a lot to the body. But like you said, Joel Smith's coming in with these where he's open. He's open for them counters. I don't know what. That's just tell me I'm a
Well,
casual and I don't know what the hell I'm on about.
I'll tell you my opinion about that style. I'm not too much of a fan of the high guard defense. Uh, you probably
Why?
haven't seen much of my fights, but so for example, even for a lot of people that I'm fighting with that have high guards,
Yeah.
those are my favorite people to fight.
Mhm.
Um, because realistically, they're easy to hit. They're easy targets. They
Yeah.
don't really rely too much on their feet. They rely on just catching shots and firing back.
Yes.
And it's easy to. So the reason why it's easy to hit them is because there's nothing stopping me from coming in. For example,
Mhm.
put the
Mhm.
phone up. When I'm here,
Yep.
uh, compared to being here, when I'm here, there's other little barriers that you have to get around, and it gives me a little time to react. When I'm here, I
Yep.
don't plan on punching. I plan on catching to fire back, catching
Yeah.
to fire back.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
realistically, I don't have like I can literally when somebody's here, put my glove right here.
Yep.
I can literally just there's nothing stopping me from putting my glove right there, blinded you. Now you definitely can't see because I have my glove
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And then at that point, boom, I'm going around the gloves. Boom, attacking the body, going around to the
Yep.
body.
Yep.
Um, so realistically, I'm not too much of a fan of that defense. That defense is more like a oh shit defense to me. Like oh
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm in a bad position. Let me go right there because I can defend myself. It's a good defensive position, but for me
You.
personally, it's the only good defensive position for a very small period of time when I'm in trouble, when I'm uncomfortable, I'm in a bad position. I do that, then I reset, and get back to normal how I fight. But he was definitely. That's why I said I was surprised that he got him out of there because he was defensively minded. Like he was only thinking about defense and throwing the occasional shots back. So that's why I was surprised that Joe got the stoppage. Um, but still, regardless, like I said, he came on a 2 week notice. I don't know what his camp was like, how well prepared he was. They said he was training for an 8 round fight, and now he was doing a 12 round fight. So I can't really speak. I'm not his coach,
Yeah,
so I can't
I
speak
get
on
that.
him, you know. But for me personally, like I said, I'm not a fan of the high guard defense. Very rare people that can pull it off. Mike Tyson definitely did it differently when he had his
Yeah, but he
peekaboo.
was bobbing and
And his
weaving.
peek,
He had the head
yeah,
movement with it.
yeah. Obviously, a lot different. Like those two were not the same type of styles. But even the peekaboo defense, like that's something Mike Tyson mastered because of his stature, his frame, allowed for him to be good at doing that technique. That is not for everybody. You know what I mean? I'm a big proponent. Me and my coach had the same philosophy, and that's really just being true to yourself. Like everybody's going to have their own styles. There's no right or wrong style.
Okay.
And even when I said about the high guard, I said that style is not for me. Like I'm not a fan of. It's not my preference. I'm not a fan of that for me. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that for everybody else,
yeah,
because if you look at every legendary fighter, any fighter in the Hall of Fame, look at all of them. None of them fight the same.
yeah. You're right.
None of them do.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
I'm not one of those people. To me, in boxing, there's no right or wrong way to do anything. It's what's right or wrong for you
Suitable for
as an
you.
as an individual. Um, there's people who fight with their hands completely down, but textbook everybody else says keep your hands up. But there's people who in the Hall of Fame that fight with their hands down. Many times see Muhammad Ali fight with his hands down. See Floyd always having his left
The
arm down with the
shoulder.
shoulder roll. You see Roy Jones, nobody's gonna fight like Roy Jones. You know what I mean? That was his ability because he was that athletic. His reflexes were that sharp. So
Long
there's
range
many examples.
uppercuts.
There's many examples you can go with, but every style is meant for each individual person. But that's why I said for me, it's important that I wanted to try to be well rounded in a lot of different things. So whenever something comes up, if I need to adapt and change to fit against a certain style, that I could do that.
And they do say that styles make fights, so I get it. Some people make really good dance partners, and some people don't. You're only as good as the last person that you beat. At the end of the day, until you progress, you get better. You challenge yourself more. I mean, fair enough. Obviously, he's a world champion, but how do you see your style marrying or not marrying with somebody like Joel Smith when you look at the
Oh,
styles? And fair enough, yeah, experience, yeah, there's a massive, but I'm talking about the styles.
style wise, honestly, like
Mm,
I said, I'm very confident in myself. I believe in myself, and style wise, I can compete with the best. Thing that I'm lacking in this moment, like you said earlier, is just experience. So I'm
mm.
not gonna be one to try to say, "Oh yeah, I beat Joe Smith." Not at that level quite yet. But style wise, compete with the best. And
Yeah,
so my time will come. My time will come, and I'll be able to prove that myself.
yeah. Did David Morrell Jr. Drop go down in weight? Because I thought he was a light heavyweight.
His last fight, he fought at 68.
I think so. I must have really just
I thought
lost
his last fight. I'm not even gonna lie, they kind of missed his last fight that he fought on.
because I
When
like his style.
he
That's
fought
why I
in
asked.
he fought in December as well. I think, yeah. I missed his fight though,
No.
but I was still under the impression that he was fighting at light heavyweight.
See that I need to find him now because this is going to do my head in. Because I thought he was light heavyweight, but then I seen something to contradict that, and he's quite young, as in a young fighter who's only had a few fights, but his style is quite exciting as well. Let me have
Yeah.
a look. I'm sure he dropped. This is where I find out I'm just making stories up for the sake of it. This is going to bother me because I do like him as a fighter. Um, David Morrell Jr. But, oh. Yeah,
Yeah,
It's all in Cuban.
yeah, he's definitely talented for sure. And I think he's got like what 5 fights,
Yeah,
you know,
he hasn't
and
got that much.
he's kind of doing like the Lomachenko route too. Like he's already advancing pretty quick up. I think he's already fighting 12 round fights.
Yep,
Main event on PBC.
yep.
So he's doing pretty well for himself for sure.
Well, when you look at that and you talk about obviously, pushing through, how do you tend to push your career through? Because you're quite level-headed, you're
Mhm.
very grounded, quite a mature approach to boxing as a business, well as, like you said, you don't need to rush. You know what you want to do, but you don't need to rush. So when it comes to pushing out your career path, how do you see yourself going in comparison to somebody like David Morrell, who's starting to up the ante already and saying, you know what, I'm going to start pushing, straight ahead on what I want to do?
You know, it's hard to say. Like I said, really realistic. What I'm gonna do is just take it one fight at a time,
Yeah,
uh, and then just keep filling out. I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna be fighting 12 rounds by like the end of this year or anything like that. Like I said, I just want to just fill it out and see how the process goes. Um, and if things are looking really well, I'm doing really well, I'll move at a certain pace. You know, me and the team will talk about it. I already feel like I'm, world championship quality now, but like I said, it's just about getting experience. So whenever we feel
yeah,
that timing is right, we'll make those jumps up to fight 10, 12 rounders, or whatever the case may be. You gotta do it smart.
yeah,
But I got
absolutely.
got one career. Want to do it right. You know, I believe in myself and I believe in my talent, my ability. But it's just about just doing the right way to get there, to get also the people on board with it too, to believe in me as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right, you've got one career, and there is one thing about boxing that sometimes the boxing fans don't seem to take that serious, and it's that it's not a really long career. It's not a 20, 30-year career. Don't get me wrong, okay, I get it. Joel Smith Jr., who did he? Bernard Hopkins, I get it. Some people don't want to let go, but it is a short career. So you've got to be
Mm,
really strategic, plan it, carefully, and make sure you get a lot out of it as well. Because what do you do after boxing? Boxing carries on, but you're not part of it as such anymore. So, you have to be strategic in how you work through your career. And I get it. You believe in yourself, you're confident, you want to take as many people out as you can, but what's the point in rushing?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's really no point in rushing. Said earlier, got one career, so make sure we do it right and enjoy the ride along the way.
Absolutely. Listen, as per usual, you and I could go on talking forever.
Yeah,
I'm glad we caught up, because it's
yeah,
it's
for
been a
sure.
long time. I've been, dying to speak to you to see how your first fight went, and that next time you got to get your coach in here.
Okay, for sure. That's
I might regret saying that, but I've said it now.
just be wary now. Yeah, yeah. I will try to get something set up, especially like I said, I'll let you know whenever I get my date and stuff, and I'm able to
Yeah,
announce it or whatever, and we can uh definitely chat again soon.
yeah. Do you think it might be in the UK? Oh, okay.
Not this,
Never
not not
mind.
not, not this time. Not this time. Not this time.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind. Soon, soon. I can watch it on the, how it's broadcast anyway. But listen, Darius, thank you so much for your time. Until the next time, keep in touch, and
Yeah.
let us know when
Thank.
you're out there fighting again.
Sounds good. I appreciate you for having me again. We'll talk again soon. I'll keep you posted.
Thank you so much. You take it easy, and I'll see you
I
later.
appreciate it. All right. Have a
See
good
you
night.
later. And you.
All
Bye
right.
bye. Thank you very much for listening to October Red. This was episode 1 of the Boxing Lounge, something that we're going to try and do every week, depending on the fighters and their commitments. But this is something that we want to do. Try and do this once a week, Sunday evenings between 7 and 8 p.m. Keep an eye on IG because that's where I usually announce where I'm doing stuff. I hope you liked today. We had the lovely Darius Fulghum on that's just done his American professional debut as an American fighter, in Mexico. He's signed by S-Jam, and his promotional company that airs his fights is ProBellum. As you know, they're signing up a few fighters, a global company, exciting. Get behind them. They've got some good talent on board. Anyway, enough of my ramblings. I'll probably see you next week, Sunday. And like we say at October Red, stay ready.